My son's classmate's mom turned the PTA against us, filed fake CPS reports, poisoned his lunch, and tried to blacklist us from every school in the district. So I pulled an Uno reverse in the most devastating way possible. I tried to be friends with everyone at my son's school because I thought it was the best way to prevent him from getting bullied. But I never expected for the bullying to happen to me. I was waiting for Marky to come out of school one day when I found myself sitting beside one of the other moms. She seemed nice at first, and I'm a pretty open person. So I told her about the drama going on between some of the other moms. Nothing crazy, just a little gossip about them moving school soon. She immediately responded with a mouth like that, I can see why you don't have a husband. The way she said it made it sound like she was joking, but I could see in her eyes that she wasn't. I wanted to respond with, I can see why the other moms talk shit about you all the time, but I knew her son was friends with mine, so I just stayed silent and smiled back. I had no idea that this was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, I noticed things starting to shift. Marky would come home saying his friend Max, her son, couldn't play with him anymore because his mom said they were too busy. Then another mom canceled our coffee date last minute. Then another. Pretty soon I'd show up to pick up and the little clusters of moms would suddenly go quiet when I walked up. I tried to shake it off, told myself I was being paranoid, but then came the birthday party invites, or rather, the lack of them. Marky started asking why he wasn't invited to Jake's party, or Emma's party, when everyone else was going. That's when it hit me that this wasn't just affecting me anymore. The final straw was when I overheard two moms at the grocery store. I was in the next aisle grabbing cereal when I heard my name. She's always trying so hard to fit in, it's pathetic, one said. I can't believe her husband did that to Max. She's lucky Denise didn't open a case. My heart dropped. My hands started shaking so bad I almost knocked over the cereal boxes. I abandoned my cart and practically ran to my car, my mind racing. Then it all clicked. That psycho had spread some kind of rumor about my husband and her son. That's when I remembered something from a few months ago. Long before this whole thing had even started, I'd been volunteering in the classroom, helping with reading groups. Max had been struggling, and the teacher asked if I could give him some extra attention. He'd made huge progress, and the teacher had praised me in front of Denise, saying I was a natural, and asking if I'd consider becoming a regular reading volunteer. Denise's face went tight. She made some comment about how some of us work full-time and couldn't just play teacher. At the time, I thought it was just mom jealousy and shrugged it off, but then at the spring concert, Max, her son, had run up to hug me instead of her when he spotted us in the audience. Mrs. K, did you see me? Did I do good? The look on Denise's face, pure venom. Her son liked me, was succeeding because of my help, and she couldn't stand it. So she took that innocent classroom volunteering and twisted it into. I couldn't even think of the words. The next few days were hell. I noticed dads at school giving my husband weird looks at Saturday soccer. One mom actually pulled her daughter away when my husband bent down to tie Marky's shoe near them. The coaching coordinator called to say they'd restructured the assistant coach positions and wouldn't need my husband's help anymore. I wanted to scream. I wanted to find Denise and shake her and ask how she could do this to an innocent family. But I knew confronting her would make it worse. She'd probably claim I was harassing her or threatening her because she was protecting children. So instead, we decided to start fresh. My husband's boss had a branch they wanted to move him to anyway, and Marky would be going to a better school too. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd tried so hard to protect Marky from bullies, only to learn that the worst bullies come in the form of jealous moms. Update. A lot of you guys want an update. We ended up moving and everything was going smoothly, until Denise had found a way to spread the rumors all across the city, pulling every string known to man. And when Marky was blacklisted from every single school in the district, I knew I had to make her pay. I stood in my kitchen, staring at the letter from the district superintendent. The official letterhead made my stomach turn. Marky sat at the table, tears streaming down his face as he pushed his cereal around the bowl. Mom, why can't I go to school? His voice cracked. I picked up the letter again, my hands trembling. The date at the top made me freeze. 3 days before we'd even arrived in this city. 3 days before we'd told anyone except the moving company where we were going. Let me handle this, baby. I grabbed my keys. The district office parking lot was nearly empty at 8:30 a.m. I marched through the glass doors, the letter crumpled in my fist. The superintendent's secretary looked up from her computer, her smile fading when she saw my face. I need to speak with Dr. Morrison. Now, do you have an appointment? I slammed the letter on her desk. This says my son is banned from every school in the district based on documented safety concerns. What documentation? She glanced at her screen, typed something, then her face went pale. Ma'am, I can't discuss the specifics, but there are photos. Photos of what? She lowered her voice, glancing around. Your husband, with the child. They show inappropriate proximity during tutoring sessions. My legs nearly gave out. I gripped the edge of her desk. Where were these photos taken? She clicked through screens. The angle suggests it appears to be from inside a private residence, through a window. I stumbled back to my car, my mind racing. Only one person could have taken those photos. Only one person had that angle into their own home where my husband had helped Max with reading. My phone buzzed. My husband's name flashed on the screen. They put me on leave. His voice was hollow. My boss just called me in. Someone sent an anonymous tip about the allegations. They knew our new address. They knew everything. I gripped the steering wheel. How? We only told the moving company. I don't know, but I can't work. We have no income now. I drove to the grocery store in a daze, needing milk for Marky's breakfast tomorrow. In the parking lot, I noticed a woman staring at me from across the row of cars. Something about her was familiar. The way she held her shoulders, the tilt of her head. She quickly got into a blue sedan. As it pulled past me, I saw the driver clearly. My blood ran cold. It was Denise's sister. The woman in the passenger seat had been photographing my license plate. Back home, Marky was on the couch with his tablet. His face was red and blotchy. Mom, look, he showed me his Instagram. Messages from Max filled the screen. My mom says your mom is dangerous and I can't talk to you anymore, but I miss you. I scrolled down. Screenshots of our new neighborhood, our house, Marky's new bedroom window, photos Max couldn't have taken. Baby, block him. Block the account now. But he's my friend. Just do it, please. The next morning, I took Marky to the library library to research homeschooling laws. He wandered to the children's section while I searched legal websites. Two women chatted by the computers, their voices carrying. Did you hear about that new family on Maple Street? The one where the father did something to a child? My book club was talking about it. Sarah's college roommate knows the whole story. I froze. Sarah was Denise's college roommate. I'd met her once at a school fundraiser. The poor mother who reported it is terrified. She says he groomed her son. How awful. And they just moved here thinking they could escape? I abandoned the computer and found Marky. We left through the side door. That night, I couldn't sleep. I went to check on my husband and found our bedroom door closed. Strange, muffled sounds came from inside. I pushed it open. He was sitting on the bed with his phone propped up, recording himself reading a children's book aloud. What are you doing? He looked up, his eyes hollow, documenting every interaction, every moment I'm near any child, even Marky. He showed me his phone, dozens of videos. The earliest was dated 2 weeks before we'd told anyone about moving. You knew? I suspected. After the soccer thing, I started recording everything, just in case. The next day, I called lawyers. The first two said they'd call back. They didn't. The third agreed to see me. I sat in the waiting room, rehearsing what I'd say. After 20 minutes, the receptionist approached. I'm sorry, but Mr. Davidson has a conflict of interest. He can't take your case. What conflict? I've never met him before. She looked uncomfortable. I can't say more. I'm sorry. I walked to the parking garage, my chest tight with frustration. On the second level, I stopped. A familiar car sat in the corner spot. I walked closer, my heart pounding. The parking stub on the dashboard showed arrival time, exactly 1 hour before my appointment. My phone rang. Mom, honey, I got the strangest messages on Facebook. She was crying. About your husband. There are documents and photos. Is it true? Mom, no. It's all lies. Someone is. The account has your maiden name, your old photos. How would a stranger know about your father's death? About your miscarriage? I sank onto the concrete. Mom, please, it's fake. Someone is trying to destroy us. I don't know what to believe. Maybe Marky shouldn't visit for a while. The line went dead. I drove home in a fog. A business card was tucked under my windshield wiper. Private investigator, discreet inquiries. I called from my car. Mrs. K, I've been looking into your situation. Can we meet? An hour later, I sat across from him in a coffee shop. He slid a folder across the table. Denise works in HR at Mercy Healthcare Network. It's the largest employer in the region. 7 hospitals, 40 clinics. So, she has access to employment verification systems, background check databases. She ran your husband's information 3 days before your first interaction with her. I stared at the timestamp on the report. She planned this? It appears so. There's more. She has connections throughout the system. Hiring managers, administrators. Your husband won't find work at any major employer in this city. I drove past Denise's sister's house that afternoon. Her car was in the driveway. I knocked. She answered, her face going white when she saw me. You can't be here. We need to talk about Denise. Her hands shook. I can't. She knows things. What things? She glanced behind her, then stepped outside, closing the door. My addiction. 5 years ago. I went to rehab. She has the records, photos. If I don't help her, she'll tell my ex. I'll lose custody of my kids. Help her how? Following you. Reporting where you go, who you talk to. Tears ran down her face. She has files. On lots of parents from school. She knows everyone's secrets. You have to tell someone. With what proof? She's too smart. Everything looks legitimate. She backed toward her door. Please go. If she finds out I talked to you, I left, my mind spinning. At the hospital the next day, my husband's mandatory psych evaluation was rescheduled. Again, the receptionist wore a familiar necklace. I'd seen it in Denise's Instagram posts. The best friend from her wedding photos. System error, she said sweetly. We'll call you to reschedule. We never got that call. That evening, Marky showed me his phone. Mom, look at this. A TikTok video played. Kids from his old school doing a stranger danger challenge. They held up photos of creepy adults to avoid. My husband's face appeared. When was this posted? He checked. Yesterday. But look, he showed me the account, created the day before we moved. I'd had enough. I drove to the police station to file a harassment complaint. The officer took notes, nodding sympathetically. We'll look into it, but you should know, Ms. Denise already filed a protective order request. She says you've been stalking her online. She has screenshots. Screenshots of what? He turned his monitor. A Facebook account with my photos. Messages to Denise, threats, harassment, all from an account I'd never created. This isn't mine. Check the IP address, check anything. We will. But until then, you need to stay away from her. I walked to my car, defeated. At home, something felt wrong. The garbage cans were slightly moved. I checked the security footage. A woman in a dark wig had been photographing our mail. The way she walked, favoring her left hip. The same hip Denise had injured in college, according to her Instagram posts about her fitness journey. The next morning, Marky had a panic attack at school. The nurse called me to pick him up. He kept saying my dad didn't do anything wrong over and over. Unprompted. I have to document that. Document it why? She looked uncomfortable. It's concerning behavior. When children repeatedly deny abuse without being asked. He's being bullied. Kids are showing him TikToks calling his father a predator. I'm just following protocol. She handed me forms. The language was eerily similar to Denise's original allegations. I hired a new lawyer with the last of our savings. She dug deeper than the others. I found something interesting. Denise doesn't have a son named Max. What? Max is her nephew. Lives in Colorado with his parents. Hasn't seen Denise in 2 years. I stared at the photos she showed me. The real Max. Different child. Same name. She used her nephew's identity. Created an entire fictional narrative. The question is why. My phone rang before I could answer. The lawyer's name on the screen. Get home now. CPS is there with an emergency removal order. I broke every speed limit. Police cars filled my driveway. Marky stood on the lawn with a social worker, a small suitcase beside him. Mommy! He tried to run to me, but the social worker held him back. My husband was in handcuffs by the police car. I tried to show them the evidence, the recordings. They said I was interfering. We received 47 reports in the last 48 hours, the social worker said. We have no choice. 47? That's impossible. Different names, different phone numbers, but all expressing serious concerns about your son's safety. I watched them put Marky in the car. His face in the window broke me. My husband was driven away in another car. One officer lingered. Between you and me, it's strange. The caller who triggered the emergency order knew exactly which judge was on duty, Judge Patterson. So, his daughter works at Mercy Healthcare, in HR. At the police station, I waited for my husband's processing. Officers discussed the case openly, thinking I couldn't hear. Anonymous caller had everything. Dates, times, even knew the judge's rotation schedule. Someone did their homework, or had inside information. Hours later, they told me bail was set impossibly high. Given the nature of the allegations, they said. I drove to the foster facility. They wouldn't let me see Marky. High-risk classification, the intake coordinator said. I recognized her from Denise's birthday party photos. It's for his safety. Her signature on the forms was dated before the CPS report was filed. My sister called that night. I've been getting calls from someone named Denise. She says you're unstable, that I should consider taking Marky. You can't believe her. She knows about my divorce, about my money problems. She says she can help with the legal fees if I file for custody. She's manipulating you. Is she? Or are you just paranoid? Maybe Marky would be better off. I hung up. The PI called at midnight. Meet me at the diner. I found something. He slid a folder across the booth. Newspaper clippings, court documents. Denise's ex-husband died 2 years ago. Sewers lied. But look at the custody battle records. I read, my hands shaking. Similar allegations. Coaching children. Inappropriate contact. No evidence, but he lost custody anyway. His Sewers lied note, the PI said quietly. His mother kept the real one. The one the police have is edited. I read the photocopy. She'll never stop until she destroys me. She took my children with lies. Now she's taking my life. Don't let her do this to anyone else. Back home, the empty house echoed. I found Marky's teddy bear on his bed and hugged it. Something hard pressed against my chest. I felt along the seam. A small slit. Inside, a tiny device. My phone buzzed. An app notification I didn't recognize. I opened it. Audio files. Recordings from our home. Date stamps going back 6 months. From a play date when Max had forgotten his bear. I drove to the psychiatric hospital the next morning. If I was going to fight accusations of instability, I needed documentation of my mental health. Voluntary 24-hour evaluation, I told them. The intake nurse smiled. We've been expecting you. Your friend Denise called. She's very concerned. She's not my friend. She said you'd say that. Part of the paranoia. The psychiatrist assigned to me looked familiar. I went to college with Denise, she said. She told me about your situation. When? Oh, we've kept in touch. She mentioned you months ago. Said you were showing concerning behaviors. Her notes were already written. Details I hadn't shared yet filled the pages. That night, another patient whispered to me in the hall. That woman keeps calling, asking about your medication, what you're taking, doses, everything. Who? Denise. Says she's your emergency contact. The staff tell her everything. Released the next morning, I went home to shower. My anxiety medication was gone. The bottle empty. Security footage showed nothing unusual, but the only person with access was the cleaning lady, the one Denise had recommended months ago. At the emergency custody hearing, my mother testified against me. She's been erratic. These videos show her breaking down, screaming, crying. The videos played. Me, exhausted, sobbing after days of harassment, edited to remove context. Just a woman falling apart. During a recess, I went to the bathroom. Denise was on the phone in a stall. He'll crack soon, then we'll have our confession. Make sure he's in Block C. That's where they put the child predators. I ran out, called the jail. Too late. My husband had been attacked. Broken ribs. Internal bleeding. He refused to see me. His mother arrived at the hospital. I've hired my own lawyer. I'm filing for custody of Marky. You clearly can't protect him. From what? Lies? She held up a folder. Your therapy records. Your history of anxiety, depression. You're unfit. How did you get those? Does it matter? My grandson needs stability. Bank accounts frozen. Investigation ongoing. I checked into a motel with the cash I had left. My phone rang. Denise, this can all go away. Just have your husband confess. Admit what he did. I'll make sure Marky is returned to you. He didn't do anything. Everyone's already convinced he did. Why fight it? How did you find me? I know everything about you. Where you go, who you talk to, what you're planning. She paused. Room 237 at the Sunset Motel, right? I hung up and drove to her house. She answered the door with a smile. You're violating the protective order. I don't care anymore. She held up her phone. A live stream. Marky in a bedroom crying. I want my mommy, he sobbed. That's my friend's foster home. She keeps me updated. She smiled wider. He cries for you every night. I followed her when she left an hour later. She drove to a storage facility on the edge of town. I watched from my car as she entered Unit 47. When she left, I broke in. Boxes lined the walls, each labeled with a child's name. Inside, photos, documents, recordings, dozens of families, their secrets cataloged. My phone buzzed. Denise's sister. Meet me at the old playground. Urgent. She was pacing when I arrived. I found something. About our father. What? He didn't die naturally. His heart medication. She withheld it. Made it look like he forgot to take it. She handed me a journal. He wrote about it, how she threatened him. Said if he didn't change his will, she'd make sure he had an accident. We have to go to the police. With what? He's been cremated. No evidence. She looked broken. She's done this before. She'll do it again. At the police station, a detective finally listened. We've been watching her since her ex-husband's death, but she's careful. We need a pattern. I have evidence. Recordings, documents. Obtained how? I stayed silent. Without legal means, it's useless. But keep documenting. We're building a case. That evening, Denise appeared at my motel. I'm filing for guardianship of Marky. As a concerned community member, someone needs to protect him from you. She handed me papers, filed 3 days ago, before CPS even took him. You planned this from the beginning. I plan everything. She smiled. Your husband's job here. The schools Marky could attend. Which judge would be on duty. Which foster family would take him. Everything. After she left, I met with Denise's ex-husband's mother. She looked ancient. Grief etched in every line. This is his real note. She handed me a sealed envelope. I kept it hidden, but you need it now. I read it in my car. Every detail of Denise's campaign. How she isolated him, turned his family against him, made him question reality, used their children as weapons. She made me believe I was guilty of things I never did, made others believe it too. By the end, even I wondered if maybe I had done something and forgotten. That's her gift, making you doubt your own truth. The DA agreed to meet. This is substantial. substantial, but she's filed charges against you. Stalking, harassment, she has extensive documentation. It's all fabricated, maybe, but it'll take time to prove. The assistant kept checking her phone. In the meantime, stay away from her. At Marky's custody hearing, Denise sat in the front row. 12 community members had written letters supporting her guardianship petition. I recognized names, parents from school, people whose secrets were in those boxes. My lawyer stood. Your Honor, we have evidence that Ms. Denise has been systematically— The doors burst open. Denise's sister ran in. I have a recording of her admitting everything. The courtroom erupted. Denise's sister connected her phone to the court system. Denise's voice filled the room. Of course I made it all up. Max isn't even my son, but that bitch thought she could waltz in and make everyone love her. Make my nephew love her more than me. I couldn't let that happen. Denise stood slowly. That's clearly edited. My sister is mentally ill. Look at her psychiatric records. She produced a folder. From yesterday, Dr. Morrison confirmed she's having delusions. I wore a wire, her sister said. The police have the full recording. The judge called a recess. In chambers, my lawyer presented the HR access logs, Denise's illegal searches, background checks on dozens of families, including the judges. She researched your daughter, Your Honor, your wife, looking for leverage. The judge's face went cold. I'm ordering an immediate investigation, full custody to the mother pending review. Denise screamed in the courtroom. You don't understand. She hurt Max. She's getting away with it. Ma'am, you just testified Max is your nephew, not your son. He is my son, in every way that matters, and she took him from me. Her composure finally cracked. She made him love her more, just like everyone always loves everyone more than me. Security escorted her out. She leaned close as she passed. I kept copies of everything. This isn't over. Her lawyer immediately withdrew from the case, citing ethical concerns. At the foster facility, I finally held Marky. He was too thin, shadows under his eyes. Mom, why did Mrs. Denise say you hurt Max? Max isn't even real, is he? How did you know? The stories never made sense. He said he lived on Elm Street, then Oak Street. Said his birthday was in June, then September. Kids notice stuff. You're so smart, baby. Can we go home now? Soon. Dad's still in the hospital, but soon. 6 months later, we lived in another state. Denise was in jail awaiting trial for fraud, stalking, filing false reports, and identity theft. Her sister testified against her. So did 17 other families who'd found the courage to speak up. Marky was in therapy. He still had nightmares. Still asked why someone would lie about his dad. My husband's physical wounds healed. The emotional ones would take longer. He couldn't be alone with children anymore, even Marky. The fear was too deep. I still checked doors twice, screenshot everything, record conversations, save receipts. The hypervigilance might never fade, but we survived. Denise had taken so much. Our peace, our trust, our sense of safety, but she hadn't destroyed us. That had to count for something. The morning after Denise's arrest, I woke to my phone buzzing frantically. 23 missed calls, all from numbers I didn't recognize. The first voicemail made my blood freeze. Mrs. A.K., this is Principal Henderson from Riverside Elementary. We received concerning documentation about your family. We need to discuss your son's enrollment immediately. My hands shook as I listened to the next message, then the next. Each school in our new district had received packages overnight. Detailed timelines, fabricated evidence, photos that shouldn't exist. I found my husband in Marky's room watching him sleep. Dark circles shadowed his eyes. He hadn't slept properly since the attack. They called my new job, he whispered. HR wants to meet Monday. Someone sent them newspaper clippings about the trial. But Denise is in jail. How? The packages were mailed 2 days before her arrest. His voice cracked. She prepared for this. Marky stirred, reaching for his father. My husband flinched back involuntarily. The movement was subtle, but Marky's eyes opened, catching it. The hurt that flashed across his face made my chest ache. Dad doesn't want to hug me anymore, Marky said at breakfast, pushing eggs around his plate. That's not true, baby. Dad's just scared of me because of what she said. He looked up, eyes too knowing for 8 years old. The other kids at my new school already know. Someone told them. I drove to Riverside Elementary, determined to fix this. The principal's office felt smaller than before. Henderson's expression had changed from welcoming to wary. These allegations are serious, she said, sliding a folder across her desk. I opened it. My breath caught. Photos of my husband at Marky's previous school events, each one edited subtly. Shadows added, angles manipulated, innocent moments transformed into something sinister. These are doctored. Look at the metadata. We have to investigate. It's protocol. She pulled out forms. Until then, perhaps homeschooling would be best. You're punishing my son for lies spread by a woman in jail? We're protecting all our students. Her tone was final. The decision stands. Outside, I called our lawyer. She sounded exhausted. Denise hired a PR firm before her arrest. They're pushing the narrative that she's a whistleblower being silenced. 3 parenting blogs picked it up this morning. Can't we sue? With what money? Your accounts are still frozen pending investigation. That afternoon, I found Marky in his room, tablet in hand. His face was pale. Mom, look, a YouTube video played. The Denise Matthews story, a mother's fight for justice. Professional production, emotional music. Denise, looking haggard but noble, speaking to the camera. I only wanted to protect children. Now I'm being punished for speaking truth. The comments section was brutal. Hundreds of people calling us monsters, demanding justice for Denise. Someone had posted our new address. I yanked the tablet away. No more internet. Not for a while. But my friends, your real friends can call our landline. He laughed bitterly. What friends? Everyone thinks Dad's a— He couldn't finish the sentence. My husband quit his job that night. Didn't wait for Monday's meeting. Just sent a resignation email and shut down his laptop. I can't do it again, he said, staring at the wall. The looks, the whispers. I can't. We'll figure something out. With what? We're living on credit cards. Marky can't go to school. I can't work. She won. Even from jail, she won. The next morning brought new horrors. Our neighbor knocked, holding a flyer. These were on every door in the neighborhood. The flyer showed my husband's face. Protect your children, in bold letters. Below, carefully crafted language that stopped just short of libel. Contact information for concerned citizens to report suspicious behavior. We don't believe it, our neighbor said quickly, but others might. You should know there's a neighborhood watch meeting tonight night about safety concerns. I spent the day inside, curtains drawn. Marky tried to play in the backyard, but came in after 10 minutes. The kids next door went inside when they saw me. Their mom was watching from the window. That evening, I watched the neighborhood meeting from our darkened living room. 60 people gathered in the Johnsons' driveway. I couldn't hear words, but I saw the flyers, the concerned faces, the way they glanced at our house. My phone rang. An unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Don't hang up. The voice was familiar. Denise's sister. I'm at a payphone. She doesn't know I'm calling. What do you want? She has people on the outside. They're being paid to continue her work. She calls them from jail. Gives instructions. Who? Give me names. I don't know. She's careful, but there's something else. She had a backup plan. If she got caught, documents hidden, more than what you found in the storage unit. Where? I think she gave them to someone she trusts, someone who believes her completely. Her voice dropped. Be careful. She told me once that martyrs are more powerful than victors. The line went dead. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every car that passed made me tense. Every shadow could be someone watching, recording, planning. At 3 a.m., our doorbell rang. Then again and again. I peered through the peephole. Nobody there. But on our porch sat a box. I waited until dawn to retrieve it. Inside, hundreds of printed emails. A conversation between two people planning to continue Denise's work. The headers showed they were sent from Denise's account after her arrest. She's using the jail's computer access, my husband said, reading over my shoulder. Look at the timestamps. During her legal consultation hours. One email made my stomach drop. The grandmother is sympathetic. She already believes. Focus efforts there. My mother. They were targeting my mother. I called her immediately. No answer. Again, nothing. On the 10th try, she picked up. I told you not to call anymore. Mom, please. Whatever you've been told. I've been told enough. That poor woman sent me proof. Videos of your husband. Things you hid from me. What videos? Mom, think. How would Denise have videos if... Don't you dare say her name. That woman is a hero. She sacrificed everything to protect children. While you enabled a monster. She hung up. Marky heard everything. He stood in the doorway, tears streaming. Grandma thinks Dad hurt someone? I pulled him close. Grandma is confused. Someone lied to her. Everyone believes the lies. His small body shook. Why does everyone believe her instead of us? I didn't have an answer. The next week blurred together. More packages arrived at schools in neighboring districts. My husband's former colleagues received anonymous emails. Our car tires were slashed. Twice. Then came the lawsuit. A process server knocked on a Tuesday morning. You've been served. The papers named us as defendants in a civil suit. 3 families claiming we'd created an unsafe environment for their children. They wanted damages. Millions we didn't have. Our lawyer reviewed the filing. This is sophisticated. Whoever wrote this knows exactly how to word things to avoid dismissal. Denise? She's named as a witness, not a plaintiff. Smart. She can testify without being party to the suit. She paused. There's something else. The lead plaintiff, her daughter goes to Riverside Elementary. I've never met her. No, but look at her maiden name. I stared at the papers. Matthews. Same as Denise. Her cousin, I whispered, who just happened to move to your district 2 months ago. Before you did. The realization hit like ice water. Denise had positioned family members in our new town before we'd even chosen it. She'd anticipated our move, planned for it. How many more are there? I asked. How many people has she planted? I don't know, but we need to be very careful. Document everything. Trust no one. That afternoon, Marky's therapist called. I'm concerned about our session today. Marky mentioned someone has been contacting him online, sending him messages about his father. We blocked everyone, took away his devices. He said they're leaving notes, in places only he would find them. I searched Marky's room. Under his mattress, a folded paper. Your dad is sick. He needs help. If you love him, you'll tell the truth about what he did. In his closet, tucked in a shoe. Good boys don't keep secrets. What did your dad tell you not to tell? Behind his dresser. Your mom can't protect you, but I can. Just tell someone what happened. Each note was handwritten. Different paper, different pens. Like multiple people were involved. How are they getting in? My husband checked every window, every lock. How? Marky finally confessed. The boy next door. He gets them at school. Says a nice lady pays him $5 for each one he hides. What lady? I don't know. He said she cares about keeping kids safe. We installed cameras, changed locks, put alarms on windows. Nothing helped. The notes kept appearing. In Marky's backpack, under our doormat, in my car. Then Marky stopped eating. My stomach hurts, he'd say, pushing away his plate. The pediatrician found nothing wrong. It's anxiety. He's manifesting physical symptoms. Can you help him? I can prescribe medication, but honestly, he needs stability, safety. Can you provide that? The question hung between us. Could we? My husband broke first. Not dramatically, just stopped. Stopped leaving the bedroom, stopped showering, stopped responding when we talked to him. Dad's giving up, Marky said one night, curled against me on the couch. No, baby. Dad's just tired. He's tired of being called bad things. I heard him crying yesterday. Dads aren't supposed to cry. Everyone cries sometimes. Not like that. Not like they're breaking. I found my husband's journal that night. Pages of the same sentence. Maybe I did do something. Maybe I forgot. Maybe they're right. Denise's words, echoing from her ex-husband's sewer slide note. The same poison, working its way through my husband's mind. You didn't do anything wrong, I told him, holding the journal. He looked at me with empty eyes. How do you know? How does anyone know? Maybe I blocked it out. Maybe, stop. That's her voice, not yours. Is it? I can't tell anymore. The civil suit moved forward. Depositions scheduled. Our lawyer warned us to prepare for the worst. They'll ask invasive questions, try to trip you up, make you look guilty even if you're not. We're not. I know, but truth doesn't matter in court. Perception does. The night before my deposition, our house was vandalized. Spray painted across our garage. Every window soaked with accusations. I cleaned it myself. Didn't call the police. What was the point? They'd just add it to the file. More evidence of community concern. The deposition was held in a glass office building. Denise's cousin sat across the table, perfectly styled. Cold eyes just like Denise's. Her lawyer started gently. Background questions, easy answers, then the shift. Have you ever been alone with other people's children? I volunteered at school. Many parents do. But specifically alone, behind closed doors. Reading groups sometimes. So yes, you've been alone with children. Multiple children. Every answer twisted. Every word weaponized. 5 5 hours of careful manipulation. During a break, I overheard the cousin on the phone. She's cracking, just like you said she would. The husband's next. He'll be easier. They were right. My husband lasted 2 hours before breaking down, not admitting guilt, just sobbing, broken. The court reporter documented every tear. We need to consider a settlement, our lawyer said after. We didn't do anything wrong, I know, but fighting this could take years, cost everything, and meanwhile, Marky suffers. That night, I found Marky writing a letter. Dear Mrs. Denise, it started. Please make this stop. I'll say whatever you want. Just please let my family be happy again. I grabbed the paper. You can't send this. Why not? Maybe if I lie, say dad did something, she'll leave us alone. Baby, no. We don't lie. Not even to make bad things stop. But the truth isn't helping. He screamed it. 8 years old and screaming like his heart was breaking. Nobody believes the truth. The lies are winning. I held him while he sobbed. My husband heard from the bedroom but didn't come out. Couldn't face his son's pain. The next morning, our lawyer called. Denise was granted a new hearing. Some technicality her new team found. She might get bail. How? She has resources we don't. A PR firm. A legal team. People on the outside working for her. Funded by? I'm looking into it, but money trails take time. Time we didn't have. Each day brought new erosion. My husband spoke less. Marky smiled never. I held us together with increasingly fragile thread. Then the breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A woman called. Elderly. Nervous. I saw the news about your family. About Denise. First, I knew her in college. And she did this before. To a boyfriend. When he tried to break up with her. Made accusations. Ruined his life. He transferred schools. Changed his name. But I remembered. Would you testify? I'm scared. She threatened me back then. Said she'd do the same to me if I talked. Please. My son is 8. He's suffering. A long pause. Send your lawyer my information. I'll think about it. Hope. Fragile but real. I shared the news with my husband. He barely responded. It won't matter. She's already won. Look at us. Look at what we've become. We're still here. Still fighting. You're fighting. I'm just existing. That night, I made a decision. If Denise could plan, so could I. If she could document, I could too. I started my own files. Every incident. Every witness. Every pattern. But more importantly, I started recording our truth. Videos of Marky laughing on good days. My husband helping with homework. Normal moments that showed who we really were. Why are you filming everything? Marky asked. Because someday, when this is over, I want you to remember that we had good times too. That we were happy. That we loved each other. We still do, right? Of course, baby. Always. But even as I said it, I wondered, how much could love withstand? How many lies could a truth survive? The answer came sooner than expected, but not in the way I'd imagined. The answer came at 2 a.m. when our smoke alarm started shrieking. I bolted upright, smelling nothing. My husband stumbled from bed as I ran to Marky's room. Empty. His window stood open, curtains billowing in the night air. I screamed his name while my husband checked every room. Nothing. I grabbed my phone to call 911 when it buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Check your mailbox. Inside was a photo of Marky sitting in someone's kitchen, eating cereal. The timestamp showed 10 minutes ago. Another text arrived. He's safe for now. Come alone to 4782 Pine Street. Tell no one. My husband grabbed his keys, but I stopped him. The address was only 6 blocks away, in our neighborhood. She has allies here, I whispered. Someone we see every day. We argued briefly before I convinced him to stay and watch for Marky's return. I drove slowly, checking every parked car. The house was dark except for a kitchen light. I recognized it immediately. The Johnsons, the ones who'd hosted the neighborhood meeting. Mrs. Johnson answered my knock, her face carefully neutral. Behind her, I glimpsed Marky at the table with her teenage daughter. Come in, she said. We need to talk. The kitchen smelled like coffee and lies. Marky jumped up when he saw me, but Mrs. Johnson's daughter held him back. Sit down, Mrs. Johnson said. Both of you. She placed a folder on the table. Inside were photos of my family. At the park, the grocery store. Through our windows. Dozens of surveillance shots spanning weeks. Denise asked me to watch you, she said. Paid me well. Said you were dangerous. You kidnapped my son. I invited him over when I saw him crying in your backyard at midnight. Again. She leaned forward. Do you know what he told me? That he was practicing being alone. Because soon you'd both be in jail and he needed to be ready. Marky stared at his hands. I didn't mean to tell her. It just came out. Mrs. Johnson continued. I've been sending Denise reports, photos, updates. But tonight, she gestured to Marky. Tonight, I realized I'm surveilling a family being destroyed, not protecting children from predators. So you'll stop? I already have, but others won't. She has people at the grocery store, the gas station, the pediatrician's office. She slid a paper across the table. These are the ones I know about. 7 names. 3 I recognized. Our pharmacist, the librarian who'd helped me research homeschooling, the mom who'd smiled sympathetically at the park yesterday. Why tell me now? Because Denise called tonight. From jail. Said phase 2 starts tomorrow. Mrs. Johnson's voice dropped. She's getting out on bail. Her supporters raised the money. I grabbed Marky and left. At home, my husband was pacing the driveway. We packed essentials while Marky slept in the car. By dawn, we were 3 towns over in a rundown motel that accepted cash. We can't run forever, my husband said, staring at the water-stained ceiling, just until we figure out our next move. But Denise was already ahead of us. My phone rang at 7 a.m. Our lawyer. She's out, and she's filed an emergency motion. Says you fled with Marky in violation of the custody order. What custody order? I have full custody. The temporary one from yesterday's emergency hearing. The one you didn't attend because you weren't notified. She paused. How did she know you'd run? The motion was filed an hour before she was released. I thought of Mrs. Johnson. The phone call about phase 2. Had she been playing both sides? Within hours, an Amber Alert went out. Our faces on every news channel. Parents flee with child amid abuse allegations. The photo they used was one from Mrs. Johnson's surveillance file. Marky at the park, looking sad. Easy to misinterpret. We abandoned the car at a truck stop, paid cash for bus tickets, but at the station, a security guard kept staring. I saw him reach for his radio. Bathroom, I whispered to my husband. We slipped out the back exit with Marky between us. Where are we going? Marky asked as we walked along the highway. Somewhere safe, baby. There's nowhere safe from her. His matter-of-fact tone chilled me. She told me once, at the old house, said she'd always find us. A pickup truck truck slowed beside us. The driver, an older man, studied our faces. My heart hammered as recognition dawned in his eyes. Then he looked at Marky, at my husband's protective grip, at our exhausted faces. "Hop in," he said. "I'm headed north." We drove in silence for an hour before he spoke. "My daughter went through something similar. Ex-husband made accusations. Took 2 years to clear her name. Lost everything fighting it. What happened to her? She survived. That's what matters." He glanced in the mirror at Marky, curled against my husband, finally accepting comfort. "You folks running or fighting?" "Both," I admitted. "Good. Running gives you time to plan the fight." He dropped us at a small town I'd never heard of, paid for a motel room, pressed cash into my hand when I protested. "Pass it forward someday," he said, driving off before I could thank him properly. That night, we watched the news coverage. Denise, looking fragile and noble, pleading for Marky's safe return. "I just want to protect him," she told reporters. "His parents are sick. They need help." The reporter mentioned our history of instability, the psychiatric evaluation I'd voluntarily sought, my husband's documented paranoia about recording himself, every attempt to defend ourselves twisted into evidence against us. "We should turn ourselves in," my husband said. "Explain everything. With what proof? She's destroyed our credibility. We'll be arrested. Marky will go to foster care, to one of her people. So what do we do?" Before I could answer, Marky spoke from the other bed. "We fight back, but smart, like she does." Over the next 3 days, we developed our plan. Marky suggested most of it, his 8-year-old mind seeing patterns we'd missed. "She always knows where we'll go," he said, "because she thinks like a mean person. So we need to think different." Different meant unexpected. Instead of running farther, we circled back, rented a cabin just outside our home county, close enough to monitor Denise, but not where she'd look. I bought a laptop at a pawn shop, created anonymous accounts, started documenting, not defending ourselves. That hadn't worked. Instead, I focused on Denise, her patterns, her history. The breakthrough came when I found a cached webpage, a support group for victims of false allegations. Denise had posted there years ago, under a different name, but her writing style was unmistakable, bragging about destroying her ex-husband, sharing tactics, teaching others. "Look at this," I showed my husband. She admitted everything, names, dates, methods. It's from 3 years ago, under a fake name, but cross-reference it with public records. I pulled up court documents, marriage certificates, death records. It all matches. She documented her own crimes. We spent 2 days compiling evidence, Denise's posts, public records, the pattern spanning years. Then I did something I'd sworn I wouldn't. I called her sister. "I know you're scared," I said when she answered, "but we have proof now. Real proof. She can't hurt you if she's in prison." Silence. Then, "She's planning something big. Tomorrow, at the courthouse. She's filing to adopt Marky. Has a judge ready to sign off." "Which judge?" "Patterson. The one whose daughter she has leverage on." "What leverage?" "The daughter had termination of pregnancy in college. Denise has the medical records. If it comes out, the judge loses the evangelical vote next election." Another piece clicked. Denise didn't just plan moves. She planned entire chess games. "Will you testify?" I asked. I can't. She has photos of my kids, taken through their bedroom windows. Said if I ever turned on her, "We can protect you." Number you can't. But, she paused. "The storage unit. She moved everything after you broke in. Unit 12 now. The key's hidden in a fake rock by the office door. Whatever you're planning, do it fast." That night, while my husband stayed with Marky, I returned to the storage facility. The fake rock was exactly where she'd said. Inside Unit 12, I found Denise's insurance policy. Boxes of blackmail material on half the town. Judges, police officers, teachers, social workers. But more importantly, I found her journals. Years of detailed planning. Every manipulation documented like she was proud of it. And in the most recent entry, her plan for tomorrow's hearing. I photographed everything, uploaded it to multiple cloud services, sent copies to our lawyer, the FBI, the state attorney general. Then I did one more thing. I called the reporter who'd interviewed Denise. "I have a story for you," I said, "about a woman who's destroyed multiple families, and I have proof." She was skeptical until I sent her a sample. Photos of the storage unit, pages from Denise's journals, the cached web page where she'd bragged about her methods. "This is extensive," the reporter said. "Can you prove it's real? Come to the courthouse tomorrow. Watch what happens." The next morning, we entered the courthouse through the loading dock. A security guard I'd never seen before let us in, saying nothing. Sometimes angels appear in unexpected places. Courtroom B was packed. Denise sat at the plaintiff's table, perfectly composed. Her lawyer looked confident. Judge Patterson avoided eye contact with everyone. Our lawyer met us in the hallway. I filed an emergency motion to present new evidence, but Patterson will probably deny it. Let him try. We entered together. Denise's face flickered with surprise before resuming its mask. She hadn't expected us to show. The hearing began with Denise's lawyer painting us as unstable fugitives who'd endangered our son. Denise dabbed at dry eyes as she described her fear for Marky's safety. Then Judge Patterson spoke. "Given the circumstances, I'm inclined to grant temporary guardianship." "Your Honor," our lawyer interrupted, "we have evidence that directly impacts this case. I haven't approved any new evidence." "No, but the FBI has." The doors opened. Federal agents entered, followed by the reporter and her camera crew. Denise's composure finally cracked. "Your Honor," the lead agent said, "we need to speak with you privately about your daughter and Ms. Matthews' attempts to blackmail you." Patterson went pale. This hearing is postponed." "No," the agent said. "It's over, as is Ms. Matthews' campaign of terror." They arrested Denise in the courtroom. She didn't struggle, just stared at me with those cold eyes as they read her rights. Multiple counts of blackmail, extortion, fraud, conspiracy. "You think you've won," she said as they led her past, "but I've already destroyed you. Look at your husband, your son. You'll never be whole again." She was right about the scars, but wrong about everything else. The reporter interviewed us outside. I kept it simple. "We just want to go home and heal." But first came the cleanup. 17 more arrests over the next week. Denise's network collapsed as people rushed to make deals. Mrs. Johnson testified about the surveillance. The pharmacist admitted to reporting our prescriptions. The foster care coordinator confessed to pre-filing forms. Each revelation felt like a weight lifting. Marky started eating again. My husband spoke in complete sentences. Small victories. The civil suit was dropped. Our bank accounts unfrozen. My husband's job offered him his position back with apologies and a raise. He declined. Trust, once broken, doesn't easily repair. We found a new house 2 states away. Smaller than before, but ours. Marky started at a new school with a principal who'd actually read our file. All of it, including the evidence of Denise's lies. We'll keep him safe here, she promised. And somehow, I believed her. My husband started therapy. Real therapy, not the weaponized version Denise had arranged. Slowly, he began to heal. The flinching stopped. The paranoid recording ended. He could hug Marky again without fear. My mother called one night, sobbing. I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. When I saw the news, saw what she did to all those families. It's okay, Mom. She was very convincing. Can I see Marky? Of course. We'll visit next month. Denise was sentenced to 15 years. Her sister got custody of the real Max and moved across the country. The storage unit evidence helped convict 12 others. Justice, imperfect, but real. But the true victory was smaller, quieter. 6 months after the trial, I found Marky in the backyard, teaching our new neighbor's kid to ride a bike, just being a normal child, trusting again. My husband joined me on the porch. He's okay, he said, wonder in his voice. We're okay. Yeah, I said, taking his hand. We are. Denise had been wrong. We were whole. Different than before, maybe. Scarred, certainly, but whole. That night, as I tucked Marky in, he asked, Mom, why did she hate us so much? I'd thought about this often. She didn't hate us, baby. She hated that we were happy, that we had something she couldn't control. Our family, our love. He considered this. So we won because we kept loving each other? Yeah, baby, we won. He smiled and closed his eyes. No more nightmares. No more fear. In the living room, I found my husband writing. Not paranoid documentation, but a letter. To other families going through false allegations. Sharing resources. Offering hope. Want to read it? He asked. I shook my head. I trust you. Trust. Such a small word for such a big victory. We never forgot Denise or what she'd done, but we refused to let her own our future. Every normal day felt like rebellion. Every laugh, a small revolution. And in the end, that's how we won. Not through some grand victory, but through the simple act of refusing to let her break us. We survived. We healed. We chose joy. It was enough.